Amid the ongoing positional battles along the front lines in Ukraine, new victories have recently been proclaimed by the warring sides. In the Kharkiv region, the front line has reportedly changed. The Ukrainian military launched a counteroffensive and achieved some success. After several days of fighting, units of the DPR, LPR, and Russian Guards left the town of Russian Lozovaya and other nearby villages. The AFU established a stronghold in the village of Stary Saltov. It is reported that the village was occupied by militants of the notorious Kraken Special Forces unit of the Azov nationalist regiment, who are openly known for conducting hunts for civilians with pro-Russian positions in the Kharkiv region. The AFU continue sabotage operations north of Stikuni village and are actively strengthening positions in the Chugiev area. In turn, the armed forces of the Russian Federation are strengthening their positions in the area of Kosaklopan. Clashes are reported in the Kurukla and Pashkovo areas, as well as near Bolshaya Kamashalvaka. In the area of the city of Kharkiv, there is a fairly small grouping of Russian forces which for weeks continue to repel Ukrainian counteroffensives. One of their tasks in the region is to divert enemy forces from active operations in the Izium region, as well as to protect the supply roads. It is reported that the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine has transferred 3,000 soldiers and more than 100 units of heavy weapons to unblock the 93rd Brigade, which fell into the operational environment in the area of Izium. The AFU do not abandon attempts to force the Seversky Donetsk and hit the flank of the Russian grouping in Izium, who are advancing on Barvenkovo and Slavyansk. The AFU are trying to break through near the village of Protoprovka, but so far without success. Russian artillery is delivering massive artillery strikes on Ukrainian positions. Battles for the town of Liman have been going on for several days. Russian troops and units of the People's Militias of the DPR and LPR are storming the city to further advance on Slavyansk. In the area of Bakhmutka, Russian troops took control of the village of Sletvichne. Fighting is continuing in Nizhny. In the area of Severodonetsk-Lysychansk, Russian forces have almost completely established control over Rubezhnoye and nearby areas. The AFU were repelled from the forests in the Krudyashva area. Fighting began for Voivodovka, located between Ruzhbezhny and Severodonetsk. The head of the Chechen forces who are deployed in the area, Ramzan Kadyrov, said that the AFU were knocked out of the areas to the north and northeast of the village. Fighting continues in the streets. Control over Voivodovka will provide an opportunity to blockade the city of Severodonetsk from the north. In turn, the commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine announced the beginning of a counterattack in the Luhansk direction. However, at the moment, no success has been achieved. The main hotspots remain in the areas near Popasna, Kremennaya and Torskoe. Russian troops continue to storm Popasna. The People's Militia of the LPR controls half of the city. In the Donetsk People's Republic on May 5th, Russian forces took control of the village of Trotskoye, located 14 kilometers north of Ishinovataya. The People's Militia of the DPR stated that the 1st Separate Mechanized Battalion of the Territorial Defense of the DPR, with the support of Special Forces, mopped up the resistance in the village. At the same time, Ukrainian artillery continues to fire at the village from positions in Novosilovka and New York. Positional battles continue on other fronts of the Donbass and in the southern regions of Ukraine, but no changes were reported on the front lines. After the ceasefire regime established on April 30th and May 1st resulted in the evacuation of about 100 civilians, hostilities resumed in the territory of Azovstal and Mariupol. Ukrainian militants opened fire in an attempt to find any weak points in the Russian positions around the plant. In their turn, Russian forces suppressed the Ukrainian firing points with artillery and aviation as well during the clashes in some areas of the facilities in order to secure their positions and civilian areas nearby. In order to suppress the firing points of Ukrainian militants, Russian naval artillery was employed, which inflicted a large-scale blow to the plant. As soon as the fighting resumed, the Azov militants revealed that there were still civilians in the basements of Azovstal. Thus, clearly, not all the hostages were allowed to leave the facilities. The Russian news agency RIA Novosti cited an anonymous representative of the Russian military involved in the operation to liberate Azovstal, saying that there could be more than 200 civilians, including women, children, and elderly, held in the basements. The source also revealed that the Azov militants offered to exchange civilians for food and medicine.